Not black.
Yeah, but
You're asking if it's African Americans or it's distinction. There's nothing wrong with asking that question. And also, no, that's not what that is. You're getting the whole black and up
that's
thing.
the kind of stuff that people
No, that's not. You're missing the point, April. You're missing the point.
Go ahead.
That's a whole different. That's a whole different conversation. That's a whole different conversation. People are asking you if you are of an African American, someone who came out of Jim Crow, out of American slavery. Are your descendants out of that? That's all I'm saying. And there's nothing wrong with saying yes, I am, or no, I'm not, but I'm still a black
woman in America.
Absolutely.
She feels the effects of Jim Crow being a black person in America.
I don't disagree with that. But there's nothing wrong with, remember, when people ask you if you're African American or if you're black, and there's nothing wrong with distinguishing what your relationship to Africa and America is. Just like there's nothing wrong for a person who is of Latino descent to say, I am Puerto Rican, or someone to say, I am from Costa Rica, or I am from Cuba, or I am Cuban. There's nothing wrong with making a distinction to say that you are a black person who comes out of the American tradition of being black or African American. What is wrong with that? Absolutely nothing. All she has to do is say, I'm a black woman, my ancestors are not African American, and then just move on. I don't see, that's not a controversy. It should not be controversial at all. What do you have to say, Scott?
Saying about black people and about descendants of slaves.
Again, be careful who you align yourself with, because this ADOS, African descendants of slaves, a lot of Russian bots, a lot of bots online targeting, doing the dirty work of Russia for that. And to discriminate, I think, again, it's okay to point out that you're a descendant of slave. Don't get me wrong. That's fine. And some people are not. And that doesn't make one person less or more black than another person. But to discriminate against someone to say, well, we just want this because we are black in this way, I think it's discriminatory, because people of color, there's power in numbers. It should be, there's nothing wrong with having a plan for Black America and not just Black Americans who are descendants of slaves, because this country, when someone sees me on the street, or when a black person is going for a job or for housing or for a loan, they don't look at on your application. It does not say if you're a descendant of slaves. Right. It just says you're African American or you're black. Right. So that should be enough. So
what's up, ADOS and our allies? You know who it is. Angela Nirvana, your hostess with the mostest on the Friends of ADOS TV channel, bringing you those ADOS hot topics and making the case for reparations, making the case for Democratic down ballot this election cycle until they cut the checks in the trillions over multi-generations. And today, Don Lemon, yes, doing the job of the Democrat bots. Yeah, that's a new hashtag over here, family. The Democratic bots putting in that work used to come to our defense. It was okay to make the case for our distinction when it was just in terms of how you identify as ADOS. Right, family? That's what I was playing, y'all. How back in the gap, when he was giving April Ryan that work over Kamala Harris, weaponizing ADOS-ness for that vote. See, we fell for that stuff with Obama, right? That identity politics, family, that we are putting to rest. Do you understand what I'm telling you? When we say we are American descendants of chattel slavery, it is to make ourselves seen, to unflatten blackness, right, family? We need to be seen because of the blacks in this country. There are a lot of black immigrant elites over here, caping off of our affirmative action, caping off our entitlements, while we are oppressed as the anchors of America, family. That's right. So we put up that distinction. And it's mighty funny when he was giving April Ryan that work, that he had no problem with the distinction of American descendants of chattel slavery. You know, want her to be honest and forthright that, oh, by the way, she might be black in terms of her complexion, because that's how a lot of them get over, family. She might be black in her complexion, but she is the daughter of East Indian Brahmin caste, which is white in India, and her father is Indian Jamaican. He proudly boasts of being from a descendant of Jamaican slave owners. So the color of white in this country is green. And it's mighty funny when he's putting in work to give us permission to be ADOS just in terms of how we identify, so we can see the pretenders, so we can see folks who want to put on blackness for their convenience, for their elections, right? You want a ski-wee all over the place. You want a Howard University bison all over the place, okay? Obama gave us Al Green. He gave us Smooth. He gave us swag on the cover of Ebony. It's okay to identify who you are when it comes to that. But when it comes to that check, look at how everybody is trying to crowbar their way into that check. As if I can go to the Caribbean and co-opt any piece of CARICOM. Okay? And furthermore, CARICOM has no teeth in it, just like the current HR 40 has no teeth in it. So I played you both sides. And before I bring up my illustrious guest, so far, Tanzy Flakes from ADOS DMV is in the building. I'm expecting Arthur Ward from ADOS Chicago. Preferably he can make it. I know they over there slinging bricks. I haven't had a chance to listen to their protest because they got a bill that's under the gun too, that's going to give resources to ADOS. And they are marching on a Sunday, family, to make sure they bring that money through, that shmoney through for the ADOS. And this is why it warrants distinction. So you heard him, like I played at the top of the show. Pro-ADOS when it comes to how you identify. Yes, get her in, boo-boo. Get her all the way together. Yes. But did you hear the second half? As he's coming for ally Ice Cube, ADOS Ice Cube, who has been working with the movement. This brother came in at the 11th hour when our study for reparations here in California was about to turn into smoke. Okay? On the day, it was on the expiration day that he dropped the call and got the governor to sign that bill. That's the power of partnering with our ADOS celebrities. When they're for real, right? Because we got the P. Diddy's and the T.I.'s and the Charlemagne the God who have rolled over all damn ready, right? They sit up here and want to talk, withhold the vote if we ain't got no tangibles. Now all over Twitter, Diddy crying for the black vote. Why? Because Ice Cube is from the hood. He been rolling hard for ADOS since he left the hood and came up. He has not forgotten, like much of our ilk who is in the upper 10% of the echelon that share about 2.3 trillion to 90% of ADOS who share less than 700 billion since COVID. So now, because 90% are on the side of Ice Cube, when it comes to the genre of rap music, here come Diddy. Oh, Trump, the boogeyman, Trump. Let me tell you what I'm more afraid of than I am Trump. The extinction of my people in the country our ancestors built with their lives. We left the $11 trillion surplus that's morphed into over $100 trillion that white folks share. Okay? And I mean white in terms of immigrants too. Okay? They were made white. The Irish were made white. The Latinos are made white. Everybody but ADOS. Why? Because they owe us in the trillions over multi-generations. And I've already shared with you how they're weaponizing immigration against us to extinct us. And if you don't get on board with this protest vote, Woe be unto you if you allow the Democrats to get a trifecta, because they opening up these borders for 11 million more to come up in here, and we've already got it bad here in California. Let me tell you, and how California goes, so goes the nation. This ish that's going on down here is coming to your city state. In a New York minute, you let those Democrats get a trifecta. But anywho, back to what I was saying about Don Lemon. Because Ice Cube, after we complained and decide we're going to boycott CNN because they uninvited him after they charged him for sitting with Trump. Now, I'm here to tell you, I am a negotiator by trade. There is no way on God's green earth those Democrats are going to unask our checks in the trillions over multi-generations without sitting with the Republican side. It's going to take both sides, family, and for them to sit up here and disparage Ice Cube for taking a call. I don't see nobody coming for the Latina X who are by and large splitting the vote down in Florida. Nobody comes for them when they sitting up making demands of both parties and both parties spilling all over themselves to see who can out accomplish things for all the other groups but us. The CBC is stupid as hell not to sit up there and fight for things for the ADOS with Trump because they don't like him, because he's mean and a racist like Biden isn't. Because Biden is nice and a racist, you listen to that clip on him on that hearing floor, the Senate hearing floor, when he wanted to name the crime bill after himself. Okay, he is the author of the 94 crime bill. He said, I don't give a good goddamn if we tethered you to the bottom. I need you in jail because what about my mama? What about my sister? What about my daughter? He did not give a damn while close to 1 million black men sit up in jail. The new slavery, private prison industrial complex. Okay, so here we made enough noise, right? We came for that ass when they did not want to bring him on. They invite him on, and he gets Cuomo all the way together. He says the name of ADOS. Then weak ass, Butta Biscuit eating Don Lemon decides to disparage ADOS and get on that Joy-Ann Reid bandwagon and call us Russian bots. Well, don't that beat all? You know what? Y'all use that for everything. Folks are not even believing y'all about that Russian bot nonsense because we know it was derived when Hillary lost in 2016. Although WikiLeaks was absolutely correct about all the things they shared, that Julian Assange was right about Hillary Clinton. You talk about Armageddon. You let these war-happy criminals take the head of this country akin to Barack Obama, who got the Nobel Peace Prize after starting 6 more wars and killing Gaddafi, okay, dropping drone strikes all over the place. And y'all want to get upset if, let's say, for example, the Russians did interfere in our election. What election in the known world where there were resources did not this Amerikkka with 3 Ks interfere in? Folks want to get their pennies in a bunch and always want to rely on Russian bot narratives as if ADOS can't think for themselves. As if we don't know how to discern and politically read who is offering tangibles in exchange for our vote and who isn't. Those are the ones you got to watch. I like my racist straight up no chaser. Okay. Anywho, Don comes on and starts to drag ADOS. Be careful who you align yourself with. It reminds me of Roly-Poly Martin when he brought Ice Cube on and Aisha from Black Lives Matter. They sitting on $30 million. Have they offered any of that in the fight for our reparations? No, because when white money backs it, as Ice Cube got her all the way together, I'm not about aligning myself with groups that got all this money interest. I'm for the grassroots. That's ADOS all day. We're not governed by white money. And that's why they're mad. And that's why he jumped on the Russian bot train. And that's why I'm calling on each of you to get him all the way together for a corporate with 3 Ks, corporate media apology. Because we bleed American descendants of chattel slavery, and he knows that. He knows the group is legitimately doing this work. He has gotten folks together about it. And now, because we're threatening status quo, because ADOS is rising, ADOS is here all over the country putting in this work, Now we're rushing bots again. I need y'all to tweet that brother and get him together. Where my soldiers at? So before I bring Tanzy up, let me go through my talking points because then I want to give her the mic so I can take a breath. Y'all know I was born to talk. Welcome, welcome, one and all. Share, like, subscribe. Make this go viral. That's what you do. Okay? Like I was saying earlier, everybody else done fell on their sword. They selling out ADOS, sitting up here trying to make unseating Trump more of a priority than our own existence. We are 200 liquid here in Los Angeles, 6% of the population, 44% of the degreed, 6% in the private sector to African immigrants, $60,000 liquid to Kamala Harris's Asian Indian people, $245,000 liquid. I don't even have time in this show, I'll check the archives, to get into how much wealth each of these groups possess in the country our ancestors built with their lives. How much stock, how much IRA, okay? How much home ownership. I don't even have the time to get into it. And you got illegals on the heels of ADOS, who are the most educated down here, being able to get high positions in corporate and public sectors alike over the ADOS. We're down from 16% to 6%. And like I told you before, what happens in California is coming to a city-state near you. Wait for it. As California goes, so goes the nation. Do you understand what I'm telling you? As they're sitting up here acting like our distinction doesn't matter when it comes to economics. The devil is a lie. So let me get to my talking points, and then I'll bring up Tanzy. Tanzy, hold on, love. I'm going to bring you up. So Don wants to flatten blackness. I just ran the stats down to you about why that's a problem. 200 liquid to African immigrants, 60,000 liquid to Kamala's people, Asian, Indian, down here in LA. I'm just dealing with LA. Go read The Color of Wealth LA. They got one for Boston. They've got one for Miami. We are $8 liquid in Boston, 700 in total assets in Boston, and to Caribbean immigrants, $12,000 in total assets. How in the world did this happen? The government. I don't fault you for coming over here and wanting to come up. I don't blame you. Because guess what? America has wreaked havoc on your country. You need to go somewhere. But for you to come over to this country that my ancestors built with their lives and think you're owed my reparations, you got the ADOS movement mixed up. No, we're putting the gate up because guess what? We are your reparations. You didn't suffer the heinous chattel slave labor over in this country. Sure, Caribbeans, you did that in your country. You take that up with CARICOM. That's not my monkey and not my circus. So if you're gonna cry in your beer and call me a xenophobe for being ADOS specific, for riding hard for the ADOS, then I'm not your show. But I am not concerned about nobody else. It's time for all of y'all get off the tit and let us focus on this deal with the devil, our government, who by the design of institutional systemic racism has tethered us to a bottle. This is our fight with them. Get out the way with your xenophobic nonsense. That is not who we are. We are cool to make this distinction, as Don Lemon told you at the top of my show. We can make this distinction because we have a debt that is owed for slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country my ancestors built with their lives. You will not guilt me into being ADOS first, second, and third. You will not shame me for it. We are your reparations. You came here to flee your stuff. And now you come over here, make money, more money than us, and send the money back to your country, to your people, to buy your homes and do your thing for retirement. We ain't got no place to go. And be on notice, I will be doing a series to align with working poor white folks. Yes, I will. Dear white people, you are being replaced too. We need to come together in this country because they are trying to extinct ADOS. That is a problem. And we need to join with people who believe in Americans first, but not at the expense of ADOS. Never. It will never be at our oppression. This country will never be right until you make ADOS right. Our blood and bones are buried here. I make no apology for being ADOS first, second, and third. Next, Don Lemon said in the second piece I shared with you that ADOS are discriminated against. No, he said that it doesn't matter. Everybody's entitled to your reparations or whatever you got going on. Make it all inclusive because when I go to the workplace or when I go to get a home loan or whatever I'm trying to do, black is black. No, you're the one who need education, Don Lemon, as you're sitting up here talking about warning Ice Cube about who he should align himself with. You need to be educated on these numbers. These black immigrants, and I'll be glad when Arthur Ward gets over here, if he can make it. Shout out to everybody in the live. Keep the chats coming. Keep your comments coming, family. I'm on a roll. Y'all know how I get when I am hotter than fish grease, okay? I get on this roll, but I will take a breath, and I'm going to get to your comments before we get into the two dead presidents. I got the story time. You know how it goes. We almost done with this series of Prejudential. Anywho, let me explain to you. These African and Caribbean immigrants are definitely weaponizing their immigration against us in the workforce. Why do you think down here we're only 6% of the private sector? Okay, you guys need to look at this thing with your eyes wide open and use those beautiful brains God gave you to see what's going on to you. You are being replaced. You are being extinct. How in the world are we 44% of the educated down here? 6% of the population and only 6% of the private sector. Make it make sense because they are putting immigrants in those places, Asian, Indian, and African alike down here in LA. Back east and in the South, a lot of y'all's issue is more so Caribbean because that's the border you're closest to. We're closest to the border of Mexico. We have no social capital in these spaces. You don't think when somebody like me shows up full-chested, unapologetic ADOS, you don't think that they know through my last name of Jones that I don't descend from American slaves? You don't think that when I show up and I don't have an accent, that they don't understand that I'm ADOS? You don't think when these race soldiers are in the community and decide to assassinate and annihilate ADOS, they know the difference between a people who is worth $200 liquid in the hood versus a people, African immigrants down here, who are worth $60,000 living amongst white folks? You don't think they putting all that together to extinct us? Then you need to read some more books and get some more knowledge. Don Lemon. Because that is absolutely what is happening. They'll weaponize their accents and all of these things to get positioned above the ADOS. And many of the immigrants come over here, I think, in immigration and the new and the reshaping of Black America. I don't think I've got that book yet, but it was on Yvette Carnell's. She did a whole book preview about it. She does a book club series, and that was one of the books that she recently reviewed. And I think some of these African immigrants are actually coming over here with 12 years of education. They're coming from slave traders. Hello, that article that said my Nigerian grandfather was a slave trader. Look it up. It was in the Wall Street Journal, one of them journals. I'll try to put all these links in there when I get a window. But they come over here with some elite wealth position. And you can tell the difference between how they're treated and given position over ADOS at the HBCUs. They're running in the administration. They're the professors. They're the students. Okay, hello, Kamala Harris. They're all those things. Instead of that, for the ADOS, they got a preschool to prison pipeline versus a preschool to HBCU pipeline for us. And so when you talk about these class-based policies, which don't fix race, okay, and you talk about erasing student loan debt, and we are only 16% of the degree in this country. Don't you see how when they come over here, it's a problem when they're marking African American and Black to get our affirmative action intended to make us whole post-slavery? That affirmative action serves white women first, immigrants second, and LGBTQIA third. And we all the way on the bottom, if anything is left. I am not satisfied with crumbs when we are owed at least $24 trillion over multi-generations. And y'all need to lean in and stand on your square. And both of these plans are crap for ADOS. Biden's plan has minority in there 30 times and people of color 22 times. I counted through 30 pages to find it. You could go to his platform and see his Lift Every Voice But ADOS African American plan does not include us. And there is no cash in it. Well, why do you need cash? Do you see what they've done to all the legislation? Okay, the CBC says they've passed some things in the House that can't even get passed in the Senate. We need those reparations that check. Then you can make yourself whole. You can buy your house. You can own your business. And people like Don Lemon, Butta Biscuit eating Don Lemon, don't want you to have your repair. Oprah Winfrey, that includes you too. I heard him say he made a call to you. So this is y'all way of trying to rally up the hood to get out here and vote in droves because y'all mad that Trump is coming for the African-American men whom you locked up. Okay? Author of the 94 crime bill, segregationist Jim Crow Joe, and Cali's top cop, Skamala the Chameleon. Yes, you're instrumental in locking up black men. Now you trying to pivot, and now you mad because you've gone after the educated black woman who we all know you're helping along this race so that you can deny black men and continue to execute them by government sanction and put them in prison. We see what you're on with caping to black women. And so now you're afraid that the black men are going to betray you and go the way of Trump. I don't blame them, okay? I don't blame them. You've done nothing but turn the black men and women against each other, akin to abortion, where you drop abortion clinics in our communities, but we don't have education. We're redlined into environmentally racist communities and tenement housing. There are no real home ownership amongst the ADOS anymore. They don't give you loans for homes. They won't give you loans for businesses. Obama was over the SBA, gave us 1% to Bush Jr., 6% of SBA loans. This is what we're doing. And y'all want us to continue to vote this lesser two evil two-step shuffle to our own peril. You all the way wrong, boo-boos. We're not doing that. And we are encouraging wash, rinse, repeat. I don't give a damn who you vote for at the top of the ticket. I am voting on the Green Party because at least they have reparations on their platform and they're willing to sit down and talk to the ADOS about what they can do to improve that plan. So I'm voting green at the top and the most progressive Democrats I can towards the bottom because ain't no way, like Don, let me tell you, is black. And that's why ADOS is fighting for our ethnicity. We're fighting to be called ADOS on the census in all the spaces. So when they do cut those checks, which I don't know if I'm going to get done in my lifetime, but I know I'm going to fight for it for my lifetime. Each time we fight for it, it makes a way for our babies to get it and our babies to get it. And that's what's up. And that's what needs to happen. Multi-generation. We're each owed a good $1.5 million while y'all sitting up over here getting giddy over $500 billion that Trump said he gonna just sprinkle throughout your community. What community? We've been gentrified out of our communities. We are unflattening blackness in the ADOS movement, and it would behoove you to refer yourself as ADOS. Why? Because your reparations is tied to that distinction. White folks don't want to pay ADOS. They certainly ain't gonna want to pay no immigrants. Get it together. Next, the color of white in this country is green. You can be black as a night. When you got money, you are made white in this country. Do you understand me? You vote white in this country when you've got money. You're going to be voting for Trump because he's protecting you while the rest of us fall by the wayside into extinction through COVID and government sanctioned execution. I share with you about the elite black immigrants. Moving on. I share with you that they want to split up our repair amongst all of them. I think we got about 14% black immigrants in this country. And Don Lemon, along with NARC and Cobra and the CBC, want to sit up here and give our reparations to them when they have made a place for them to do far better economically than the ADOS, whose ancestors' blood and bones is in this soil, who built all the wealth. They all eat from that table as we are the legs in the fight of our lives to prevent from becoming the permanent underclass in the country our ancestors built with their lives. And yes, I call it reparations. I'm not going to call it nothing else because that is what it is. Nobody had a problem with the term when Obama gave 12 million to the Jews for a Holocaust we didn't participate in. Nobody had a problem with calling it that for the Japanese immigrants or the Indians. But when it comes to ADOS, y'all got a problem with us putting a gate up around our ethnicity and making that distinction, and y'all got problems with the word reparations. Well, I'm going to always rub in your face that I'm a proud American descendant of chattel slavery, and my reparations are owed to me and my offspring. My lineage matters, and I'm going to always ring the alarm on that, so you might as well get used to it. It ain't going nowhere. I ain't calling it economic inclusion. None of this. It is reparations. I want my check because you can't mess with my check. You can try. So please know, family, that this fight is forever. Once they greenlight it, we will have to fight to keep it, or we going to have a bunch of white and immigrant $5 ADOS like the Indians have. Trust me when I tell you, boo-boos, okay? We must make the distinction because Black immigrants do not hesitate to make the distinction for access to all of the resources we are being robbed of. Not just them, all of them do it. All of them claim Blackness. They put it on for convenience. Can you take your Blackness off? Can you take your ADOS off? Can you take your ADOS off? Then why in the world should we allow immigrants and whomever want to now claim ADOS to be able to put it on for their convenience, to be able to put it on and take it off for their come up? That will be an absolutely not. We are the reparations, income disparities here in LA and abroad, the wealth disparities, the educational disparities. I went over all that. People of color and minority is not American descendant of chattel slavery. Understand the difference. Read Don Lemon and your ilk while you're sitting up making sure you're doing the white oppressor's bidding because you got a bigger voice than Angela Nirvana over here at Friends of ADOS TV. Thank y'all for tuning in. I love y'all Black and strong. Listen here, okay? You want to sit up here and act like people of color. No, we're not people of color. We're not minority. We're not Black anymore now that we're hip to the games. We're not African American anymore. That was Obama. King and daddy, a descendant of white slave owner mama. We are ADOS henceforth, and we will be fighting for that distinction everywhere. Why is it okay to make the distinction when referring to ourselves and not when it comes to economics? That was my point from playing when he was pro-ADOS, for you to make the distinction as your ethnicity, but anti-ADOS when it comes to your repair. Anywho, welcome one and all. Let me bring up my illustrious guest. I thank her for letting me get that off my chest. Let her take the second half. Tanzy. I love you, sis. I'm so sorry. Okay, we going over an hour, y'all. Just forgive me in advance. Get your latte. Tanzy, let me know how you feel about it. Then we'll transition into Pelosi's nonsense. Go ahead.
You said a mouthful. Let me tell you, I was so very disappointed in Don Lemon, because when this thing first happened, and April Ryan was trying to make out like we was bots. That was the whole plan. We were bots. He spoke up. But now all of a sudden, it's, oh, you might want to watch out who you align with because they might be bots. That's some baloney. And you know we're not bots. And it's okay to say you ADOS whenever you just trying to, do a little dance and shuck a jig. But everybody is, when it comes down to paying the cost of being an ADOS person in this country, all of a sudden now it's discrimination. No, it's not, because something distinct happened to us. And just because a person comes from another country and comes here and gets mistaken for being ADOS because they're because they got brown skin too. I'm sorry. But if the politics was better in this country, when you came here, you would know that it's not really safe for people that look like me in that country. So I might want to align myself up with those people because I might get mistaken for one of those people and get some of the payment that they get for being those people. Instead of coming here and thinking that just because you speak a little different than I do, that you was going to be able to smile a little bit harder and the white people was just going to be like, oh, you one of the good ones. That's not how it works. You are collateral damage. This is not a good place for Black people over here. It's a better place than some, but it's not a great place for Black people in this country. So when you reap the benefits of being a Black person in this country, and God forbid it's something bad, then that's just what happens. But you can't, when it comes down to the repair, you can't come over here and be like, well, my people was hurt just like that, but over there, and I want to get some of that too. That's not how inheritance works. And reparations is our inheritance. Just like the inheritance goes to the Jews for the Holocaust that they never experienced. Those children never experienced that Holocaust. But yet and still, they still get the reparations for the Holocaust. The Japanese children, when their parents were the ones that suffered inside those internment camps, those children were the ones that pushed that thing up for their parents. Not the parents themselves. The parents tried to forget about it because it was so painful, and rightfully so. But the children are the ones that brought that case up for those Japanese so that they can get their inheritance. They didn't tell those children, oh no, here's no, y'all ain't got nothing to say about this. It didn't happen to y'all, so y'all don't get to say nothing. No, they stood in the shoes of their parents who were the ones that were hurt and the ones that was harmed. And the United States gave those Japanese internment of families their reparations from the United States. So guess what? My great-great-grandparents, that's my inheritance that you owe them. So that's my inheritance. I'm the next of kin. And inheritance, there is no statute of limitation on inheritance in the United States. Don Lemon needs to be educated. I was disappointed in him. I was very disappointed in him.
Furthermore, we do have something for all Blacks under the ADOS101.com. It's just not the reparations.
It's just not reparations. You get reparations from the people that did something to you. Reparations isn't for this being treated bad while you lived in America. That's not what reparations is about. Reparations is about slavery and the Jim Crow that came after, the peonage, the apartheid that happened in this country. You are entitled to, matter of fact, the fact that you can come into this country and have a better life is your repair.
That's real talk.
It's your repair. You got a chance to leave a place that was so bad, you had to flee for whatever the reason, and you came here. And if the government of the United States brought you here as a refugee, you got some sort of an aid packet, you got some sort of a housing, you got some sort of set aside, and there was a program set aside for you. Guess what my descendants got? Nothing. Absolutely. They got lynched. They got run out of town. They got their property stolen. They got a chance to be sharecroppers instead of slaves. They didn't have no government program, and the little bit that they did have was taken from them, little by little, even if it was just in some, just thievery, some sort of thievery to keep you in debt. So, no, I can't agree with that. I don't have anything against immigrants. I don't have anything against immigrants or anything like that. I want there to be a good immigration program. so that people can come over here and find the American dream and all of that other stuff. But what I don't want is for that American dream to be found at my expense. We've already gone through that. That was all through slavery and all through everything up until uh shoot, until the Immigration Act was passed. And even after that, we had to fight and fight and fight for the little bit that we have. And then fight to keep that from being stolen from us, either through some sort of black tax or just some other kind of grifter coming through and being predators on us. So no, I can't agree with that. Good luck to you. I don't have no bad ill towards you, but you can't have your cake and eat it at my expense.
Exactly. Arthur's trying to get in. I don't know why he didn't get the email. Just a second, Tanzy. You can actually transition because I don't like dead space while I'm working on getting him in. I wanted to just talk about, he's going to come in and talk about the NARC and Cobra piece. So I want us to talk about PELOSI and why it's problematic that all of a sudden HR 40, which is the study for our national repair, just to remind the audience, we were successful with the help of Ice Cube in getting a bill to study reparations for the state of California. We're working to replicate that throughout the country for the state. But the federal government owes us even bigger money than what we're going to get on a local level. So there is this bill called HR 40 that, Tanzy, who's the gentleman that originated it? Conyers, John Conyers the bill, and upon his retirement, he gave the task over to Sheila Jackson Lee. Now, to my understanding, Sheila Jackson Lee is a Caribbean immigrant. Now, her parents may have been immigrants, and she may have been born in this country, but to my understanding, and somebody can fact check me on that, she's not ADOS, and that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Only within the context of trying to help you understand how problematic it is to give HR 40, which we, the ADOS movement, resurrected from the dead, as folks want to come for me and talk about how long NARC and Cobra have been fighting for our repair. Well, when you see this HR 40 as it stands, you can see there's no teeth in it, okay? You can see there's no teeth in it. Hence why PELOSI is now trying to push it through, and Sheila Jackson Lee refuses to take our lead professor, lead economist, Duke professor, Dr. William Sandy Darity's number of 17 trillion, which I think is from Jim Crow. I'm saying we're owed more like 24 trillion, but we're trying to work with his number of 17 trillion. She refuses to include his edits and bring ADOS into that discussion, allowing Cobra and NARC, who, oh, by the way, CARICOM has no money in it. So Sheila Jackson Lee and the current HR 40 has no money in it, and it's not ADOS specific. Hold on. Okay, love you. Child, ADOS life is happening over here. My 16-year-old was walking out the house. I'm all into my show, so I didn't hear that her ride was here for the beach. Anywho, the HR 40 doesn't have money in it, and it's not exclusively for ADOS. So she won't sit with ADOS. She won't take his edits into consideration. Now, all of a sudden, PELOSI is pushing to get the HR 40, the toothless HR 40 passed, get more signatures on the bill quickly as a way, A, to pander for the vote, and B, to make it so that we don't get any repair, and C, have the repair go to all Blacks, akin to CARICOM, which has no money in it. Okay? Did you want to speak to that, Tanzy, while I work on getting Arthur in?
Yes. I think the only reason why they're trying to do that is I think they're trying to use it as a carrot to pander for more votes. See, look at us. We are trying to do something for Black people and blah, blah, blah. I think that's exactly what this is all about, because they're not going to do anything with HR 40 and the way it is. It's set up to be a payday for the people who are supposed to be doing this undefined limited time study on um on the effects of slavery, you know. And to me, I don't understand why they need to examine the what the effects of slavery are. Really? You need to examine the effects of slavery? There's plenty of work and data out there that tells you what exactly the effects of slavery and how it you know, how discrimination along the colonies kind of went through. It's plenty of information out there to tell you about that. So there's no need to study it. This is all just smoke and mirrors, a carrot to dangle in front of Black people to say, hey, vote for me. We're doing something for Black people. See, don't listen to what they're saying. That same crap that they tried to, little campaign they tried to do against Ice Cube, saying that he don't know what he's talking about, X, Y, and Z, while he's actually asking for things, you know, and they're just saying, well, you know, we're gonna acknowledge the fact that you're Black. We're gonna make Juneteenth a holiday. We see, look, we're gonna make it a federal holiday. Ain't you happy? We painted Black Lives Matter on the street. Don't that make you happy? No, it don't make me happy. I can't pay my bills with that. I can't take that to the hospital and be like, hey, doctor, Black Lives Matter. You know, work on me. That's not insurance. You know, so that doesn't mean anything. And it's just symbolism. So there's work that needs to be done with HR 40. And the only way that work is going to be done is if we get on the phones, we get on these computers, and we write our Congress, we write these elected officials that we have respectively in the areas that we live in, and ask them, hey, do you support HR 40 if that for state legislation? You know, a state legislator. Ask them, did you sign and sponsor onto the bill of HR 40? And press the Congress, because that's who makes the laws. Congress makes the laws. So we need to press them and ask them, if they haven't signed, where's your signature at? You know, where are the edits? And then point out the 6 edits that we have highlighted so that people can know, well, why is it that I need to sign? Well, first off, you need to sign it because you need to go in there and press for these edits, because we don't have experts checking everything on here. We don't have only experts dealing with this stuff. You have a lot of people, my cousin friend, who work with numbers. No, I want to see some experts, and not just the ones that you pick that's going to go in your direction. I mean, those who have been working in this line of work, in this field, on this topic, in this country. Then they want to pay the people who is doing that and then give them an unlimited amount of time to do so. No. Why are we paying the commissioner? Why? This is supposed to be what you're supposed to be doing. So there's no need for you to, there's no need. There's an incentive for you to just not do the right thing if we pay you in this kind of way.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly, Tanzy. I thank you for that. Let you take a breath and let Arthur D. Ward, ADOS Chicago, is finally in his house.
So that's Tanzy Flakes, huh? Okay. All right. Well, you know what?
The communications director, the liaison for the ADOS movement. She is she is the tie that binds us all together all over the country. ADOS DMV in the house.
Okay.
I think
well, look,
I want you to start with where you guys were at and what y'all was fighting for on a Sunday. I saw Marlon Watson all up in the camera. I think that was Cynthia from 13%. ADOS Chicago was taping Marlon down there protesting on a Sunday. Let us know what that was about.
No, this is about putting some fire up under the governor's feet and ass, okay? Because look, we've had discussions with several state legislators and also with the governor's people about him signing this executive order. The federal government has placed $30 billion in the state of Illinois for the governor to do COVID and stimulus and help during this crisis, okay? And we were there to get our piece, okay? The governor said out of his mouth that it's hard to be Black. We even constructed a whole website It's hard to bleed black.info to push this bill. Now, I know that the governor has got all these lawsuits on him because of stuff that he's been doing and all this. Not understand that you're busy right now, sir. But right now, you need to sign that executive order. We've already carved out the amount that we want to put into our communities for black business to help certain people and also for COVID relief. And right now, that's what we're in front of the cameras about, trying to push him to sign that executive order that he said he was going to sign. So that's what that was about.
I love it. Thank you so much for throwing rocks and bricks in Chicago on a Sunday and every day. I tell y'all, the movement takes cat naps. I've been texting folks since yesterday. Everybody had to just take a time out and get off this Ferris wheel because the work is intense and very laborious. Wherever you are in the country, if you want to get involved, we need all hands on deck. Reach out to me at friendsofadiostv@gmail.com. And I will absolutely get you in touch with whomever you need to speak with about how to join the movement.
Okay.
I need to hear from you about HR 40 in NARC and in Cobra and
yeah, that's my thing.
And PELOSI. This is your wheelhouse. Let us have that work, baby.
All right. Well, let's start with HR 40 itself. And as you guys had already said before I got on about John Conyers creating a bill and so forth. The bill, of course, was not in the form that it's always been. Do you guys know of an attorney by the name of Dr. Robert Brock? He's in LA. I think he's still alive, but he was an activist, a reparations activist in Los Angeles. And at one time he was connected with NARC. Well, no, NARC hadn't been created at the time, but he was connected with Cobra as far as creating and shaping this bill. He broke within Cobra. And the reason why was because Dr. Brock wanted direct payments to the descendants of American slaves. And Cobra wanted to create a National Reparations Trust Authority for all reparations resources to be put into and then controlled by a council of people of their choosing. So they didn't want us to have a dime, and this was years ago. Now, the way that it's going now and the kind of language that is in HR 40 now, it opens the door for that kind of trust to be opened after. As a matter of fact, that would be written into the reparations law if it passes. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we still will not get a dime. And guess who's going to be controlling almost half of that authority? Caribbeans. Because that's how they roll. If you look at the people that control, that are at the tops of NARC and Cobra, now Dr. Ron Daniels of NARC and Cam Howard of Cobra, both of these guys are ADOS. But if you go on their websites and you look at who's on the boards, half of the people on those boards are Caribbeans. What is Sheila Jackson Lee?
I think
she's Caribbean. Yeah. No, she's definitely she's Jamaican.
Yeah.
She's Jamaican on both sides of her lineage. She's not ADOS, and that also shows how lax our Congressional Black Caucus is. How is it that you're going to put our issue, the most consequential issue since the Emancipation Proclamation, into the hands of a person that has no skin in the game? But maybe she does, because she may want to retire from Congress, but maybe she'd like to keep working. And maybe one of the ways in which she can keep working is to be a member of the National Reparations Trust Authority.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's really a big setup. CARICOM has made it very, matter of fact, I'm going to read you guys something. Tanzy, are you aware of my blog? ADOS Absolute, ADOSAbsolute.com.
Okay, I got you now.
Oh,
I'm gonna put
baby.
that in there.
Now, on September 17, 2020, our ADOS chapter president, Marlon Watson, emailed CARICOM. And the email was regarding the possibility of reparations reciprocity between the Caribbean and ADOS branches of the diaspora. This is how Dr. Brown responded, and I'm quoting I'm quoting the email response. He said, "The CARICOM Reparations Commission is advancing the case for reparations for its member states in the Caribbean. We do not cover persons in the United States directly. However, I'm not sure if you are aware that a National African American Reparations Commission, or NARC, was established in 2015, and they are very active working on reparations claims for African Americans, including putting through a reparations bill in Congress, hopefully this year. We are in touch with," now listen, "we are in touch with and collaborate with them. You can get more information on this initiative by Googling the name of the commission or going on the website, narc.org. Now, they've made it very clear that we don't get nothing from their reparations program. But when you look on the NARC website, this is what they say. They say, quoting, "We strongly affirm the right of all people of African descent in the United States to receive reparations irrespective of when they arrived here or their country of origin." Now, these are the people that are running and shaping HR 40.
And how? By what right? I got a quote, Yvette. By what right?
Right. But
Why
at the same time, Tanzy, you got to understand, and this is why we have to be vigilant on this. Anything is something that my political mentor, John Hall, told me a long time ago. He said, anything is legislatively possible. And it is. Look at the benefits that the federal government has set aside for DACA, people that aren't even citizens. People that are the children of people that illegally jumped the border. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if they can do that for them, imagine what a Narcan and Cobra can do if they're able to slide this HR 40 to fruition in the unchanged way that they want to do. And that's why I don't approve of any more people co-sponsoring HR 40. I want it to die so that we can come up with a new bill and have it shaped in a way that we want it to be shaped. Let it die. Because the way I look at it, the more people that sign on to it in its unaltered form, the harder it is for us to get it changed. And it's very disingenuous what the Congress is doing. And I'll tell you why. Okay, now, you know that HR 40 did not rise in prominence as far as sponsorship until ADOS, until just 2 years ago. If you look at the chart, and I don't know if that was Tone or was that a chart that came from Darity. It's one of those guys that came up with this chart. Right when we started catching fire, that's when the co-sponsorship went up. Now, why did the co-sponsorship go up? Why did it languish for so long? Well, the reason why it languished for so long is because wasn't nobody paying attention to no benefits for niggas. Okay? That's why. But now that the black people are starting to wake up and talk funny and cause trouble and stuff, guess what happened? See, it was a nothing burger. HR 40 was a nothing burger before 2 years ago. Okay? Right. Now, think about what you're dealing with here. And the other thing is that because nobody was bothering with us, nobody read it. I just started doing research on Congress for another blog post. And there's a tremendous amount of people in there that have law degrees. There's a lot of people in Congress that have degrees in political science. And there's also a lot of people in Congress that have degrees in public policy. In other words, they fully understand the language in HR 40. When these people read HR 40, they readily signed it because they knew it was crap. That's why they signed it. So they know it's crap. We're not going to be able to give these niggas anything on A, it's crap. B, we don't have to give any niggas with this thing because all it is a study which is open-ended, and we can keep, the same way in which basketball and football players are paid all of these high salaries to keep the populace distracted, because that's all sports is, a big distraction. That's why LeBron and them guys get paid so much, because it's a big distraction. HR 40 is window dresses to make it look like that they care about Black issues. So we can sign this nothing burger, and then when you come to them about racial stuff, well, I signed HR 40, okay? And they see quite clearly the salaries that CAM and in Cobra and NARC members are asking for. And you know what? The Congress is willing to pay them those salaries. Why? Because there's a big distraction. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Can you tell us what their salaries that they're asking for?
GS-18, over $200,000 a year to do nothing. So in other words, if they carry this on for more than 4 years, each one of the people on that commission will walk away a millionaire. And they're going to do it at our expense. The other thing is that because it's so open-ended and it has no provisions in there for them to come out with a positive outcome for us, they can do all kind of study. And if they come to the right conclusion for Congress, which they will be paid to come up with that right conclusion, we still will not get anything. But at the same time, if it passes and we get reparations, we still won't get anything, because everything will be going into this National Reparations Commission Authority, or rather National Reparations Trust Authority. So that's really what's going on with HR 40. And that's why I want it to die, because it's a big trick bag.
Talk to us about how Narcan and Cobra were able to crowbar their edits onto this bill.
Well, they really didn't have to crowbar. See, the thing is with Narcan and Cobra, they're not being monitored by anybody. See, you also have to understand too that Cobra, now Cobra's been around for more than 30 years. So they've had a long time to cultivate all of these different relationships, connections, and all of these things that ADOS at this point has not been able to cultivate. So they can just get off the plane, go to Capitol Hill, and just walk right in. Whereas us, because we're alone mostly, we have to go through channels that they don't have to. Cam Howard has a lot of Congress people's numbers in his phone. Do you understand what I'm saying? Which we don't have as yet. So it's just like DeAndre. He's with ADOS Chicago. He's correct. Well, they listen to me preach in Chicago, but yeah, I say let HR 40 die, because it needs to. We need to start with a fresh document.
I guess we need to communicate that to the movement, because they've got a whole fix HR 40 initiative.
Yeah, and
fixes won't suffice.
No. The fix will suffice, but the problem is that nobody's letting us into the room to put in the fixes. That's the problem. So if we can't get in the fixes, let it die. That's what I say.
Now, Arthur, do you know when they're supposed to be having the next session on it?
No, I do not, but I can find out.
Because do you think it'd even be worth it to push for those edits? Because
no, it is. Yeah, Tanzy. No. I'm not saying. Look, Tanzy, if we can get the edits in, you won't hear nothing else from me. But if we can't get them edits in, forget it.
Right.
You
I
understand?
agree with you on that. Yeah, I agree with you on that. But
Yeah.
if we can get the edits in, then yes. But
Yeah.
if we can't get those edits in, then no. And that's the reason why Nancy Pelosi is pushing so hard. She put that open letter out there, and I think somebody else had sent a letter out, an open letter to Why We Can't Wait, the NAACP.
Right.
Why We Can't Wait had an open letter out to her to try to encourage her to go ahead and bring it forward.
Right.
And that's just so that it can go and get pushed through all unedited the way that it is.
Right.
It's not sedition.
Right. And you know, and see, the reason why Pelosi has came on board because her staff has finally read HR 40. Oh,
This ain't nothing.
there ain't nothing, right? We don't lose anything with this. Go ahead. Well, do you think you can get the rest of the House to sign on? Yeah, I can do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because they don't think it's nothing.
Yeah. So, you know, Narcan and Cobra really doing us a disservice. I do wish that the chapters would put Narcan and Cobra more on blast, and we have a failure, an absolute failure as a Congressional Black Caucus. You know, that you're going to put something this consequential in the hands of a person that has no skin in the game. Really? This is how you're doing us?
Well, you know, because for some people, we don't have a culture, and we're nobodies. You know, we the throwaways, and only the few of us who make something of ourselves are worthwhile. So they don't look at us as being worthwhile.
Well, you know what, Tanzy, I really don't care how other people look at me. I actually care. I care how we look at ourselves.
I care about how other people look at us.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Because even if people don't like you, it's just like my grandmother used to tell me that you train people how to treat you. They don't have to like you, but they have to treat you right because you're not gonna take any disrespect no matter what their views are. They know that Tanzy ain't gonna take no disrespect. And that's all I'm looking for.
I'm with you on that, but
I'm not looking for no liking. That's out.
I'm speaking legislatively though.
Yeah,
if they don't,
right.
I'm speaking legislatively. If they don't care, if they don't think you're worthwhile, like say, if you don't, I think it was one of them Trump guys who said, if you ain't bringing us no donations, we ain't talking to you.
Yeah,
you
okay.
know, and
Really?
That's exactly what we're saying.
Yeah, and see, but again,
and that's how they treating us.
That and again, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, for example, you have a lot of anti-Semitic people in Congress, but them personally being anti-Semitic does not stop them from voting for things that are favorable to Jews.
And you know why?
Because Jews have consequences for these people.
And that's what they don't have with us. There's no consequences for doing wrong.
Right.
Because we have been kumbaya'd all the time, and everything is lovely and roses.
Right.
We're supposed to forgive everybody.
Exactly.
But if we started acting like them Irish people was acting in the 80s,
right?
Remember there was the IRA was over there, just nutting up every time you turned around.
That's right.
It was something else happening.
Right.
You know, and that's not what we want over here.
Yeah.
But that's where it's gonna go when you push people to the limit like that, and you disrespect them and you discount them. If they start feeling invisible, well, they're going to start doing things that invisible people do. And invisible people think they can do anything because nobody sees them.
Right. But, you know, and again, this is why the political education that we've been receiving from Yvette and Tone is so important. And because the reason why it's so important is because Black people have been politically immature for a long time. You know what I'm saying? And we have to look at it from a 60-40 standpoint. Politics is 60% in the hands of the constituents. The other 40% is in the hands of the legislators. You understand what I'm saying? And it's just like when I was talking to John Hall, and this was a long time ago, way before ADOS, and I was working for the American Postal Workers Union, and I had read an article about reparations, and John was telling me very astutely, he said, reparations would never be accomplished in the courts. And I said, well, why is that, John? He said, because judges don't have anything to lose. He said, it's the legislature that has something to lose. And so it always has to be pursued in a legislative level. But at the same time, he said that requires tremendous education on and political interest on the part of the constituency. So this is where our part in this comes in. This reparations will only happen once we start developing ourselves more as a political entity, once we start having more self-validation, self-pride, and self-awareness as far as like what we need for ourselves and our community. You know, you understand what I'm saying? It's that network effect that will happen. It's just like in the Jewish community. You know, you may see rich Jews and poor Jews and all that stuff, but in actuality, within the Jewish community, there are no classes. They're just Jews. It's just some individual Jews may have more money than others, but they're all just Jews. And they make sure to make sure that even if the government doesn't have a safety net for the poorest Jews, they make sure that there's a safety net there. So therefore, that contributes to the total cohesiveness of Jewish interests. And I got to hand it to them. They stand on their square. If you insult one Jew, it's like you have insulted all Jews.
Yep.
And it has to be that way eventually with us. But the people that run this country will only respond to the way that you project yourself, no matter how they look at you or what they think of you. Okay?
Yes,
that's what I'm saying. You know, I may think real low on that dude across the street, but I know he's like this, and he's got fists this big. There's limits to what I will say to him, no matter what I think of him.
Right. Yeah, they don't have. There's no incentive. There's no incentive to fear us. Just like that's why we're going through what we're going through right now with this vote thing.
Exactly.
You know, they already know that we'll capture the electorate. Half of us are in the get along game. Right. And the ones that's not in the get along gang ain't enough of them to make a difference.
Right, exactly. And see, this is where ADOS is coming in, because it's not fast enough for me, but we are making more people aware of the role that politics plays in their lives, and making people aware that they must have more interest and more proactivity in the political sphere. Otherwise, politics is going to eliminate us.
Right.
Just like the Holocaust. That was politics.
Yeah.
That was
and let me tell you, and the thing about it in the Holocaust is it wasn't all of a sudden. It wasn't you wake up one day and the Jews was in the gas chamber.
Right.
No, they picked off anybody who they thought could have been an ally to the Jews.
Right.
They picked them all off one by one until there was just the Jews left, who was their target in the first place. Because the whole time they was actually doing harm to other people. They was just giving lip service about the Jews.
Right.
Until they picked them all off, kind of like what they're doing right now.
Yes.
Get rid of the immigrants, they the bad guy. These liberal women, they the bad guy. The gays, they the bad guy. Mm-hmm. And all the while you getting these shootings. Now we already got kind of used to them shooting us in the street. So whenever they shoot us in the street, we kind of see it and don't see it. You know, we do our normal little marching and then we go home. Mm-hmm. But pretty soon, them kids at the border, they gonna be gone.
Right.
Ain't gonna be no more immigrants to pick on.
Right.
The white ladies, they go throw them, some fancy jewelry or something, and they not gonna have a problem no more.
Right.
Because that family squabble that this was all about is gonna be resolved.
Right.
Or the right gifts was presented to appease them. And then who is gonna be left? The white people, the gay people that's white, go be white.
Mhm. Right.
The Hispanic that can pass for white, go be white. If you gay or not, all of a sudden your whiteness is your cloak.
That's
And
right.
everything is wonderful. And the only thing that's left is your black butt.
Right.
And then what you gonna do? And we gonna be sitting out because we didn't pay attention, and then we gonna be crying for everybody else to help us out. And they go, we all in this together, stuff ain't gonna be working no more.
Right. And you know, the other thing that ADOS must do is that we must unravel this marketing vision of the connection of Pan-Africanism and reparations. We have to unravel that.
It's a whole educational campaign that needs to happen.
Right.
You know, it's a lot that needs to be just kind of laid out there, and that takes the meeting of the minds, and it has to be linked together with education of our past, what got us to this point, and how we can move forward. But that's something that can be done. But I guess the government ain't gonna do it. But out of the ADOS that we have, that's going to have to be something that we put together and then we push, you know, but we gotta get together and fashion that. And it has to be something that's palatable so that people can accept it. Because if everybody go be kicking and screaming, pulling, you know, and blocking and resisting your stuff, you gonna do more defending than teaching. And that's kind of where we are right now.
Yeah, because see, like the Pan-Africans are trying to do something that is not humanly possible.
Right.
Didn't we have 2 world wars? Where were those world wars centered at? Europe, right? Okay, so that means that you got white people fighting white people.
Yeah.
Okay, and that there is, you know, the only reason why there is some degree of operationalness, of operational unity between different kinds of Europeans is because they have logically came to the point of an understanding of their numbers in the world and what they must do in order to survive. You understand what I'm saying? But normally they are at each other's throats over there. That's why you had a Brexit, right?
Yeah.
This unity, ain't it? The British say we don't want to be part of this European shit. You understand what I'm saying?
They fight immigration too.
They fight immigration too. But let me give you something from my blog here. I said, and this is on ADOS Absolute, my last blog, my last posting rather. I said, racism, white supremacy knows that there has never been diaspora unity and probably never will be. Look at Africa. It's a mess. That mess was mostly created by 5 main things: corrupt African governments, the vestiges of colonialism and post-colonialism, intertribal conflicts, Eurofuckery, and interreligious conflicts. Parry with what, my brother? Now we got Chinese money in the mix, and none of that is going to end anytime soon. There has never been any operational unity on the African continent. Racism, white supremacy only and easily makes use of the universal Black interethnic disunity that has existed for centuries. Continental African disunity is what caused our antecedents to be enslaved in the first place.
Mm-hmm. That's
So,
absolutely true.
right. So don't put me in that, Pan-Africans. My business is over here. My business.
To be honest with you,
right.
And to be honest with you, I don't understand how there is a such thing as Pan-Africanism, but they don't want ADOS people to be distinct. You see a group of Black people, we Black. You see this group, you know, a group of Black people fighting for their independence, their justice claim in this country, their ancestors, and you have the nerve to, just because you happen to later on, by, you know, the only reason why you even in that country in the first place is because the people that's fighting you from the other country that you was living in, your home country, kicked you out pretty much.
Well,
And
no, sold us.
yeah, pretty much kicked us out.
Right.
They sold us off. You know, we got excommunicated to another country and sold for profit to another country, got done wrong, rose up, made something of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And now, all of a sudden, you came over there after we done made the crooked way straight.
Mm-hmm.
And now here you come talking about where mine at.
Right.
Where mine at? What happened to Pan-Africanism? Pan-Africanism would have said, you know what? The only reason why you are even in America in the situation you're in is because we sold you. So how about we help you get what you deserve as atonement?
Well, Pan-Africanism,
that would sound like Pan-Africanism.
Well, see, you know, Pan-Africanism is not driven by Africans or Caribbeans. It's driven by delusional scholars,
Yes.
PhDs right here in America. Okay,
too dumb to be smart, too smart to be dumb.
Look, this is another passage. I said, no time for Pan-Africanism and no time for Africa. And as far as the NARC and Encobra's suggestion of reconnection through repatriation, I would suggest that they tell the 3 million African immigrants that live in the United States to go home first. I don't see or know of any Africans canceling their green card applications. And I don't think I will. Why would I relocate to a place where the folks that already live there are trying to leave? I also noticed that the Pan-Africans that propagate this message are all still living comfortably in the United States with 24-hour running water, consistent electricity, and good internet. And when are they repatriating? I can only believe that there would be a benefit to relocation when I see those all-knowing and vociferous Pan-Africans repatriating by example. So you take your butt over there first.
And I don't mean go over there and just have your little tribal ceremony, where they can carry you on their shoulders and stuff like that.
They don't even
call you a chief. I need you to go buy you some land.
Yeah, they don't have.
Go get your water cut off.
Right.
Go through the blackouts.
Yes.
And go through all of that.
Yeah.
Go help redevelop some of the places. Because I don't have a problem with relocating. I don't have a problem with repatriating. But what I have a problem with is when you over here in America.
Oh, yes, you would.
You
would, Tanzy.
No. I'm saying I don't have a problem with the whole concept, of
the
repatriating.
Just even in concept.
Yeah, in the concept of repatriating.
You know what?
You're over here living beautifully.
Yes, with your dreadlocks and cookies and all that shit.
And trying to get trying to get your biscuit basket all nice and set up over here.
No, don't even, Tanzy. You don't even know about me, do you? I have been to 14 countries in Africa. I've taken 3 trips to Africa, and I've been to 14 countries in Africa. No, you don't want to repatriate there. I'm telling you.
Look,
I was staying in one of the best. I was staying in one of the best hotels in Lagos, Nigeria. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm chilling. I got my African, because I like beer and I like wine, right? So I got some of the African beer. I said, let me check this out. Okay, I got some. I'm up in my room chilling. I got my little dish. I remember what it was for something, but it was out. At 8:30, the damn lights went out.
You know what, Arthur? I'm tell you. Go ahead, finish your story. I'm an old soldier.
And they told me that this section of the city has to go out for a few hours to save. And this is going to happen every night.
Mm-hmm.
I said, what?
Look, I have lived in some obscure places. I have lived in places where I just didn't even know people even lived here. How?
Yeah.
How do people live here? But I've lived there. I don't have a problem with your rolling blackouts. I don't even have a problem with you not having running water if I know this is where I'm gonna call home. Because if I can feel safe, be comfortable in this location, guess what? I'm a country girl, spent 22 years in the military, and a good chunk of that was deployed, living on cots, sleeping in the desert, and had to go there where nothing but moon dust was there when I first got there. And I was part of the crew to make everything livable. So that's not my problem. Because if I can live in the dirt for the United States for X amount of time, then I can go live in my home and make it comfortable for me. As long as I know that this is going to be my home and I can dig in and get comfortable and do with what I would like to do with it. This is my home.
Yes.
So, and I mean, I'm used to, like I said, I'm a country girl. I live with chickens in my backyard.
Yes.
I had possums and raccoons living in my house with me when I was growing up. So that is not an issue with me.
They got bigger possums in Africa.
Well, I can imagine. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you, like I tell a lot of the people that I was in the military with, if you can't outthink a trap and you can't outrun a bullet, you might, and you don't look crazy, you might be dinner.
But
so,
baby,
you can't scare me with no jungle talk. Unless it's people in the jungle that's coming to eat me, then we got a problem.
And the other problem that they have is that they don't have, how should I say, stable property rights when you do buy something.
And see, that's a real big problem. That's what I'm talking about. We dealt with that here. I don't want to build my house up here, and then all of a sudden, here come the cavalry and come swoop it up from me. The government tell me I got to leave. I've been here 25 years. I got kids, grandkids, or whatever, and here they come talking about I got to go. It ain't mine no more. No. So I have problem with the structure, your sentiment. How do you feel about me when I come back? Because, oh, by the way, I'm a descendant of the one y'all sold. So I just want to make sure when the one y'all sold come back, you're not looking at me like, oh, that's one of them trash people that we got rid of. Here they come back, they still the trash people. I understand how caste work. If I'm gonna be brother and sister, then treat me like brother and sister.
Yeah, but see, this is the problem in Africa, and it's something that I feel that ADOS are better than Africans. We are all over the country. We are from California to New York. And even though we have our little gangs, which are actually situations that are created by poverty. Oh, you got wine? Oh, okay, right on. Anyway, wait till you see my blog. We have never tribalized. We have never tribalized.
Yeah, we couldn't. We weren't allowed to tribalize.
Travel with my Chicago self, land in the sticks in Birmingham, Alabama, and be just fine.
Yeah.
You understand?
Right.
Ain't no the tribalism is just off the chain in Africa.
Well,
and they still got caste systems going on over there. And this ain't got nothing to do with white people. This was happening way before the Europeans got over there.
But you got to think about it. It was, but it was reinforced. That whole way of thinking, if you look at, you just said it earlier, the white people over there in Europe been warring with each other since war was war.
Yeah.
They always, and that's tribes. The Irish and the Scottish, those two different tribes, the British and the Italians and the Spain, all of them is different tribes. Mm-hmm. They all different tribes and civilizations of people fighting over resources. And in Africa, I mean, it was the same. People are going to fight over resources. But the difference between what happened in Europe and what happened in Africa is the ones in Europe just did it a little bit more efficiently and came and took it over to the ones in Africa. And we ended up being the ones that paid the price for it.
That's right.
We were the spoils. And that ties it back here to America. Black people don't realize that we the spoils.
Yeah.
We don't realize we are the spoils. We sitting up here trying to do politics with the mentality that them people think that we equals. No, them people have full understanding that we are the spoils and we confused. That's why they look at us so shocked, like, what? You ain't got no business even knowing that kind of stuff. You don't realize you the chicken dinner? This chicken up here trying to fight sheep under the foot. You is the dinner. So we were the currency that was used, the tools that were used, the mechanisms that were used. They used our intellectual properties, all of everything. They used us from the rooter to the tutor to get what they needed out of us, and they figured out ways to do it more ethically now. And the problem is now that they have run us ragged, they done got new ones in it. They can't do all the same dirty tricks to these new ones like they're doing to us, because the new ones, they know these people are tribal, and they bring their tribalism with them, and they might just rise up and do something crazy. And so, but us docile ones over here that we got these American Negroes. Our Negroes is docile. We done got them trained. All they gonna do is walk in the street and sing him Negro spirituals and going back to the church house. But enough of these foreigners have come here and mixed up with us. And so now we have a different kind of mentality. Because sometimes it does take someone from the outside to come in and kind of whisper in your ear and be like, you don't see that? Because you in the forest. You can't see it that good. But your friend come in and whisper in your ear and say, girl, that man just told you that. Don't do it. Think about that. Your homeboy whisper, hey, bro, that don't sound right. And so now we sitting here looking like, wait a minute. Our family, our forefathers, our ancestors, our this, our that, somebody whispered in our ear, and the scales that fell off our eyes. And now we saying, wait a minute, this legislation, I know what words mean. I can read now, and I know definitions. I know what these words mean, and these words say I ain't get nothing. So I'm gonna need you to change up the words to HR 40 so to say I get something. And I understand that unlimited study means just that.
Unlimited study.
Unlimited study. So I know what words mean. So like I said, bringing it back to the topic at hand of HR 40 and all of these other, the Don Lemon and, our designation, we have to realize our original position in this country. No matter how many flowery words that they give us, we have to realize that we were originally brought here to be currency and equipment. Never forget that. Yeah, and that's how we stay on our square whenever they try to give us these flowery words.
The thing is too, is that yes, slavery has existed for a long time in all cultures. But the unique thing about our experience here is that we were the first corporatized slavery in an actual slavery system, which was part of an industrial system for the North. A lot of people, because they don't read, they don't realize that the biggest slave trading place was not in the South.
No.
It was in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
That's in the North. The DeWolfs, that family? Do you know that family? One of the descendants was at the HR 40 hearing.
I remember.
It was like more than half of the Rhode Island economy was connected to slavery, slave trading, slave insurance, slave factoring, all this stuff. It was crazy.
Yeah, and all of the and that's why I say, as long as we have to make sure that our people don't forget, you are the spoils, boo. Remember the analogy that Yvette gave us when we used to say we were on the race, we were on the track, and we had all these obstacles in our way and so forth. No, we had that analogy right, but we had it wrong at the same time. We were the shoes that not only were we on that track with them running, but we were also the shoes that they were wearing. And so now that the shoes is running down, they want to throw shoes away and get some new shoes. Get our kids to be their shoes now so they can run this race. No, remember, you the spoils. Always remember you were the spoils, and you still are the spoils, because they found new ways to enslave us every generation, more ethical ways, more underhanded and sneaky ways. Prison, with the prison slavery, the perpetual systems of debt, so they can black tax you. I can't enslave you like I used to, so you don't got too smart. You know, you see all my jail traps,
Right.
so now I got to get you with the economic traps. I got to make you spend more money with this and make you spend more money that way, you know, and it's a tax just for you being black in America. You can't catch a cab, taxi, so now you have to ride the public transportation. You know, if you don't have if you have a child out of wedlock and you end up paying child support, they hold your driver's license. If you can't pay the child support, put you in jail. Boom, now I got you back in there. You can't get a driver's license, now you got to get public transportation. All of these black taxes, and they push us together with the poor, but we overly represent the poor. So everything is a consequence of being black in this country, and we're fighting this game like we got on the red or the blue coats as well. No, boo, you keep forgetting you the sword that they swinging, the bullet that they shoot, the gun that they shoot it with, you the knife that they wielded, you the uniform that they put on. They grab your suffering and they put that on too when they need it and say they suffered right along with you. Look, I was in the Black Lives Matter march and I got shot too. You know, I mean, whatever it is that they need, you are it. If it's some sort of a covering, if it's some sort of a debt that they need to pay, they can figure out. Look at what just happened with that brother, that billionaire brother.
Oh,
that
yeah.
Everybody was so happy about. I was so disappointed when
Robert Smith.
Yeah, Robert Smith. That the reason why he was trying to give so much stuff, so much money to the boys that went to Morehouse, those students, is so that he can use it as a write-off for his tax. No, I'm sorry, not use it as a write-off. So he can use it as a good faith effort or something like that. Because it was charity. It was precedent that someone else had done something that was similar to that, evaded taxes. So they gave a whole heap of money to some people. And the judge was like, well, since you've been doing such good stuff in the past, we'll give you a break. And it was precedent. And he went and got that lawyer to help him win this case. And he still got busted. Why? Because he didn't have the complexion for the protection.
That's right.
So he still got busted. Now I'm wondering, are them brothers still gonna get their school paid for, or were they just gonna be used? I don't know. I didn't know how it go, how it went.
Yeah.
But he tried to do what the white people was doing.
They do it all the time.
To get away with it, and he didn't get away with it. Just like what happened with that school, the school scandal, where all these parents was paying 3 times the amount of money that tuition even cost to put their kid in school that didn't even want to be there.
They got the money and they got the connections. But see, and you're right about that complexion thing. Robert Smith did the same thing that Rockefeller did with Spelman College. Spelman College, that was named after his wife.
Oh.
Spelman is Rockefeller, okay? And they gave that money to write off taxes. They said, okay, well, since we want to see something good done for the black people, let's use it for that. So if you look into the history of Spelman College, that's how it got started.
And I mean, that's great. That's wonderful. But why we got to be scapegoats? And why are we waiting and having to depend on the generosity of philanthropists to make it? We got to sit up there and pray for somebody to want to get put on Facebook or Twitter or something like that at Christmas time so we can get our layaway out. We trying to figure out which store is Tyler Perry gonna be at this time. Which one Beyonce gonna be at, pay for everybody at Walmart, railways. So why we gotta live like that? If the government just did what it was supposed to do,
right.
we the spoiled.
Right.
I just got a picture of, how they give away the turkeys. Who giving away turkeys?
Right.
Where can I get a ham? That's the way we piecing our reparations together.
Right.
And then they only doing that so they can write it off on their taxes.
Right.
Exactly. Oh my God.
So it's really sad. We got to remember, we got to fight from a position of strength. And as long as we feel like we are fighting them as equals, we'll never have the right stance and footing that we're supposed to be having. And I only say that because of that. Not saying that we shouldn't be fighting. By all, we should be fighting. But we have to fight from the right position. And if you're trying to fight these people from the position that you think that you are equal to them, then you are wrong. You already lost.
Well, let me ask you
already
this.
lost. You have to fight from the position that you know that the minute that they try to do something nice, they go cut your head off because you are the spoiled. Never forget.
Do you feel that the political fabric, as far as like white people, are changing? And I'm asking you that because of the new report that came out from Citicorp talking about, filling the racial wealth gap, and that Black Americans being impacted in the way that they have. They said that this country loses $16 trillion
Yes.
every 10 years because of racism towards African Americans. So how do you feel about that?
I feel like the campaign. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay, sis. You go ahead and then I'll say how I feel.
I feel like that's true. I feel like because it's not hitting white people in the way that it hits us, we hear it and we go, oh man, we got to do something. They hear it and be like, oh, that's so bad. That's too bad. And they don't really see it because the amount is so great. I feel like the campaign that needs to happen in conjunction with all the other campaigns is that re-education campaign of what racism, white supremacy does to this country, how it impacts it economically in each category. Not just, how it hurt Black people. No, because we already know how it hurt Black people. We are the embodiment of how it does. We need to show white people how it hurt them.
Yeah.
This is what racism does to white people. If reparations was good for the Jews in Germany, if reparations was good for Germany when it came to the Jews, then reparations will be beneficial for all Americans when in reference to the Americans. Because what you don't want is for these Americans to start wanting revenge instead of wanting reparations and repair. So it needs to be laid out to them, not in a threatening way, but in a way of this is how racism and white supremacy affects you in your pocket, Mr. White Man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We when we were in front of the governor's house here in Chicago, because he's a Pritzker. You know who the Pritzkers are?
I know that name.
That's Hyatt Hotels. That's the family he comes from.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
So he has
signed the bill.
Yeah, he's one of the heirs to the Hyatt Hotel fortune. So, but anyway, so he has several houses around the state, actually, but
wow.
But yeah, and the thing is that I look at it as a kind of network because of the fact that Black people who are an integral part of this economy have never been repaired. The entire economy of the United States has not been filled in yet until you take care of this piece. Until you take care of this foundational piece that has always been fully American, that has assisted you in every war, that has assisted you in every campaign to keep this country going, you need to fix this. And who will benefit from it most? I was telling these white policemen that stopped me and the ADOS group from having a press conference in front of one of the governor's houses, that I said one of the benefits of ADOS getting their reparations is that people like you, and he's white, it was all white policemen, people like you would actually see less of us. And he looked, I said, because you know and I know that you don't like niggas, and I use that word. You don't like niggas living next door to you. He says, why would you say that? That's not how I feel. I said, well, you know, maybe you don't feel that way personally, but I'm sure that you understand. I'm thinking, I'm talking about the general body of white folks don't want black people living next door to them, which is fine. That's totally American, because I don't like living next door to white people either. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love white people too.
So I would rather have and I said the reason why people like me, who have at several times in my life has had high incomes, is that I never moved into a white neighborhood to live next door to you.
Mm-hmm.
I moved into that neighborhood for amenities. Okay. And it's the same amenities that black businessmen have been redlined out of in predominantly black communities. So if I could get not only a Starbucks, but a black-owned cafe, a black-owned boutique, a black-owned bookstore, and all of we like all the same amenities that you like in your neighborhood, you would not see us. Your eyes would not be insulted by the very sight of a black person. He looked at me. Just like my eyes would not be insulted by the sight of you.
Yes.
Well, the way I see it is this. A lot of people you hear people like Kamala that can run our history down.
Right.
I mean, she got that Howard University Bison education on fleek.
Right.
He knows about slavery, Jim Crow, and ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage. And after she rattles it all down to you, she'll come back with, but I'm not doing anything specifically for you. Biden is another one. He can go and talk about how, you know, the police, you don't have to shoot to kill, just shoot him in the leg.
Right.
He can talk about getting, you know, he can talk about, whoa, this is horrible. All of this murder of these black people. And yet you'll see him on the debate stage and he'll be in a pissing match with Trump about more law and order, not bring in education to your communities, not bring in jobs that pay commensurate with the cost of where you live. That's not $15 an hour here. You can't do nothing with $15 an hour here but live in your car. Okay. He's not talking about cleaning up your communities over gentrifying your communities. Okay. He's not talking about decimating qualified immunity. You know, more shoot him in the leg, you know, don't shoot to kill. He's not talking about taking money out of private prisons, knowing that they're paying these prisons anywhere from $25,000 to $250,000 per bed, you know, to warehouse us for the new slavery in these private prison industrial complexes.
Right.
He ain't talking about defund the police. He's not talking about the community choosing who's the police. He's not talking about the community, the people that police the community living within the community.
Right.
He's talking about more law and order, $30 million more to the race soldiers. Yeah. And so they can all sing these soliloquies about how they disadvantaged us while doing nothing about it, while flattening blackness, while trying to make this about everybody,
right,
and convoluting our HR 40 with all this nonsense for all the blacks when we were the ones whose ancestors built all the wealth that they eat from. They're now in this country earning significantly more than us, able to take advantage with their wealth position coming in the door. And the way you know that is when you're poor and from Haiti, they put your ass right back on them little rowboats and take you back into your country. That's the difference between the immigrants of today and the ones of yesteryear. The The immigrants that are let in here today, the black ones, come from a wealth position. Like I said earlier, oftentimes it descends from African slave traders. They've got 12 years of education. You know, their education is more advanced, and they'll come here and infiltrate our HBCUs and get the positions at the HBCUs while we get a preschool to prison pipeline. Or we get COVID because we don't have health care. You know, they're talking about abortion clinics in our communities over resources. They're talking about more policing of our communities over resources. Because why? Capitalism needs a bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And we're done with that bottom as the ADOS movement.
Mm-hmm.
We don't give a damn who you put down there. But I can tell you this, we're done with being the anchor of America. I do believe in excess of 400 years is quite enough for us.
Yeah.
Yes. Quite enough. I know I done had enough. I ain't been here for 46 years, but I'm done.
You done?
I'm done. And so that's
not enough. You ain't put enough time, Tanzy.
Hey, you ain't got to hit me for one time. I didn't have to see I had to see my grandmother deal with the results of it, then my mother. I'm good. I'm straight.
My great-great-grandmother, who was born into slavery, died when I was 4. That's how close it is.
Yeah, and for those who want to talk about how long ago it was, how Biden is like, I'll be damned if I feel like apologizing for what happened to you all. That wasn't my people. Sitting up here benefiting, all the while benefiting. White folks share over 100 trillion since COVID household dollars to black folks less than 700 billion since COVID. Okay, and you want to sit up here and talk about nothing will fundamentally change as Kamala, the ski-weed bison chameleon, Cali's top cop, clutches her invisible pearls and says she's not doing anything specifically for us, but we're supposed to run out in droves and
vote for that.
No matter freaking who.
Right.
Yeah.
Because my only commodity I've got as my vote is supposed to be used to unseat Trump, whom white folks and wealthy folks put into office to protect their interests. That's how the ADOS vote is being told to be used by the Democratic bots who want to call us Russian bots to try to COINTELPRO pro this movement. But the train has left the station. We 2 years in. We ain't letting up. We ain't giving in. We ain't giving up. We ain't giving out. It don't matter what you call us, what you want. I don't give a damn. You want to blame us who are 13% in this country on why Trump is in office? Then you clearly don't know how to do math. You don't understand why they're coming for Ice Cube this hard. Because he's standing up for ADOS. He's standing up for the least of us in the same way the ADOS movement is. Why? Because right now, the vote is split between these white folks and the folks who've been made white. It's split down the middle, which means what? They need at least 10% of this vote to go to the Democratic bots. That's what they need. They need this black vote, this election cycle, but they want to do it without making you whole. They want to do it by giving your reparations to everyone else under the auspice of class-based policies, which we all know don't fix rates. The tide don't lift every vote. And when it does, where is ADOS? Still on the bottom. So that's why we put a gate up around our identity. That's why we put up a gate around our justice claim. And that's why we will continue to fight to break the back of all this nonsense. And that's why they're COINTELPROing us. Anything you guys want to add in closing? We almost at 2 hours. I'm not going to read.
Oh, really? Oh,
I didn't realize that. Look at that.
In 6 more minutes, we be at 2 hours, and I got
a
meeting with the ADOS Cali.
I was about to open a bottle of wine.
I got an 8 o'clock meeting with Triangle ADOS. Baby, the movement is moving, and they don't let me sleep. So I got to pray us out. I'll let you guys have the closing words with the last 6 minutes Family, I'll read to y'all another day. Yeah, we'll have to put that over. I'm out of time.
Right.
Well, I want to make one correction because the Blackboard corrected me on something, and when it said that no foreigners woke us up. I didn't mean that they woke us up. I said sometimes some people that come from other places, because during the civil rights movement, we had people that were from from the Caribbean and from other countries like Marcus Garvey, and we kind of know all the likely characters, but they saw something a little different than what we saw, and we all worked together. Sometimes some of them saw things different and sometimes they didn't, but it was the collaboration is what I'm talking about.
Right.
That us together, the two cultures mixing together and seeing things from different angles, being able to collaborate and shed light on the subject so we can all fight towards this thing together. I wasn't saying that they just woke us up, because we was over here fighting since fighting was fighting. We always been fighting, but we wasn't always winning those fights. But we started when we all kind of combined together and got past all of those divisions that they were trying to manufacture with us. We was able to get some things going and get some movements and stuff pushed. Now, it was debacled, but we still got a long way. We got a lot of stuff going. So thank you, Blackboard. I don't want to put that out there and leave it out there like that I'm thinking that they came over here and woke us up. No, we've been fighting, but we did have some help from the less than 1% of people that were from the outside that did come here.
True.
Arthur, let's have some before you close with your words, let me remind people that we are protest voting this election cycle. And I'm just going to be straight up no chaser. We do not want Biden-Harris at the top. We want to deliver a Democratic Congress, the most progressive you can find on your ballots throughout the country, because this is what we're proposing as the new normal until they cut the check in the trillions over multi-generations. Lesser to evil, two-step shuffle to our own peril is why we are now at George Floyd 846. I'm voting Green Party at the top. They've got reparations on their platform, and the vice presidential candidate, Angela Walker, has agreed to sit with the likes of Tanzy, Arthur, Asan, Dawn, some of my heavy hitters. She has agreed to sit down with us to get the reparations right in the Green Party.
Really?
If we are going to take over anything, the Green Party is already there 20 years strong. We ain't got to reinvent the wheel. We just got to reshape the wheel to make sure the vehicle is drivable for the ADOS movement. Now, I'm asking everybody, this is when you can be a part of this movement. When we put out demands for the HR 40 to fix it, we need everybody to participate. I don't care if you're not in the movement. We need you to make the phone calls, do the tweets, do the Facebook, do the Instagrams. Now, we're going to put all that inside of this show so you can have your directives and your marching orders. This is a time everybody can be in this movement, and we need you to participate in this protest vote as the new normal until they run us that check in the trillions, okay? We're not playing with this HR 40 and paying a commission to study it into perpetuity. We are trying to put in work. You either trash that HR 40 or take on these edits, and we need your help. We need you to show up to those polls and Obama-style numbers, okay? And anybody at the top but the Democrats and as the most progressive Democratic Congress that you can deliver us to protect the over 42% of ADOS who rely on government assistance by design of institutional systemic racism. Arthur, your closing words, and then I'll pray us out.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate meeting you, Miss Flakes. It's been great. And Angela, I love you.
I love you. Thank you. You always rolling with the sister. Tanzy too.
And next time I get on, I'm going to have my wine already ready. So that's what I got to say. So look at this. Really?
Okay, tell me where they can find you, my brother. I know your show, 13%, ADOS Chicago, is where you can find Arthur Ward. Any place else? Absolute, ADOSabsolute.com.
That's it for us. Yes, and also Cynthia's ADOS Health and Wellness.com. So
that's Cynthia McConnell, his partner on the 13%. Some of the stuff I typed in.
Yeah.
Kunta, Asan, whoever. One of y'all be my moderator and put all this in there. Lord knows I'm out of time. They go holler.
Right. And Angela, give Tanzy my information.
Absolutely. And Tanzy, they asking, where can we find Miss Flakes? I told them you were the ADOS DMV. How else do they reach you? You always a friend to this show, so they can find you over here often. But how else can they reach you?
They can reach me through Facebook. I'm Tanzy Flakes on Facebook. I'm Tanzy Flakes on Twitter. If you want to get through the DMV, you can find ADOS DMV on Twitter at ADOS DMV. You can also find us online at ADOS it's ADOS-DMV.com. I repeat, ADOS-DMV.com. And you can reach us through that, see what initiatives that we have going on so that you can get involved. If you are in the DMV area, please go register for the website so we can get you and get that information out there to you.
Put you to work. All right, family. With that said, I'm at 2 hours, Lord, today. I got to jump on this other work call. You know, we take cat naps. But with that said, I've got to pray my prayer of protection over my family. And it doesn't really matter because I only talk about the God within you and that capacity to conquer the world, because that's what we're made of, family. I want to just tell you before I let you go that the light of God surrounds you. The love of God enfolds you. The power of God protects you, and the presence of God watches over you. Wherever ADOS and its allies are, God truly is, because guess what, family? You are the face of God. You are the voice of God. You are the body temple of the Spirit of the living God. And with that said, family, until Tuesday, 6 o'clock, when we're back for more ADOS Hot Topics and the Miseducation of ADOS in America with 3 Ks, you make it a beautiful, God-inspired rest of your evening and next couple of work days. I love you, Black. I love you, strong. Bye, family. Peace. Hold the frame, family, while I close us out.